Do you really feel secure keeping all your money in a bank today, in the year 2023? One of Silicon Valley's leading banks collapsed in mere hours, leaving customers unable to access their own funds overnight. Stashing every asset at a single institution might be one of the biggest financial pitfalls right now. While you rest easy, believing your cash is protected, inflation is quietly eating away at it. Political shifts can put it at risk, and the interest you earn often doesn't even cover basic expenses. The very system we've been taught to trust is undermining our wealth every single day. Let's explore 7 alternative assets that not only safeguard your purchasing power, but can also generate income. Some of these holdings preserve your capital against inflation. Others deliver passive returns. And one, although it may look daring, is already quietly fueling wealth building for many. The final asset on this list stirs the strongest debate. To understand why diversifying beyond a bank account matters, consider the economic backdrop. Inflation in the United States remains stubborn at 2.8% annually, meaning your cash loses value simply by sitting idle. The Federal Reserve continues to hold interest rates above 4.25%, signaling expensive borrowing costs and a sluggish economy. Even major banks face mounting pressure. Remember the overnight collapse of Silicon Valley Bank? Now, rising import tariffs threaten to push prices even higher. Meanwhile, your money in the bank is doing 3 things: shrinking in purchasing power, earning next to nothing, and staying fully exposed to systemic risk. That's why it pays to shift some of your wealth into real assets that can hold their value and deliver real returns. Here are the 7 that stand out. Asset 1. United States Treasury Bonds. These are backed by the full faith and credit of the U.S. government, making them about as safe as you can get. Think of it as lending money to the government and receiving interest in return, with virtually no default risk. Today, treasuries yield over 4% annually, outpacing most savings accounts by a wide margin. If you crave security, predictable income, and want to avoid equities or cryptocurrencies, this is your go-to. In times of market turmoil, demand for these bonds actually drives their price up, offering an additional layer of safety. Just remember that if you sell before maturity, prices can fluctuate. Treat treasuries as a medium to long-term holding. You can purchase them directly through Treasury Direct with as little as $100, or access them via major brokerages like Fidelity or Vanguard. Asset 1. Government bonds. They deliver unmatched security, predictable payouts, and even today, returns that can beat the average. If you're someone who prefers to park funds into something concrete that pays you each month and still grows in value, Asset 2 is real estate. Tangible stability with upside. Although people say money does not grow on trees, a well-chosen property can perform as if it did. Real estate is physical, and despite market cycles, property values generally rise over time, hedge against inflation, and generate passive income through rent. While transactions slowed in 2024, 2025 is already showing a rebound, especially in major urban centers and logistics hubs. Crucially, as money sitting in the bank loses purchasing power month after month, a strategically selected property can compound wealth over the long term. Cities such as Austin, Nashville, and Raleigh have seen home prices climb by more than 40% over the past 3 years. That kind of growth does not require a PhD in finance. Naturally, real estate has its downsides: upkeep costs, taxes, and vacancy risks. But with the right location and asset type, it can serve as the cornerstone of your portfolio. For those without enough cash for a down payment, real estate investment trusts like Prist or Realty Income let you gain exposure through the stock market with minimal capital. Asset 3. Gold. When everything around you is depreciating and you want an asset that the world has trusted as a store of value for millennia, turn to precious metal. Gold is literally the fallback of central banks. Even as governments print currency and banks shuffle through crises and mergers, gold remains constant, scarce, and indestructible. It was the currency of emperors, kingdoms, and empires. When all else falters, gold endures. In 2025 alone, prices have already topped $3,000 an ounce, driven by global uncertainty, geopolitical flashpoints, and speculation about reserve reassessments. Unlike endlessly printed paper money, gold needs no interest to hold its value. It simply protects. You can buy physical bars or coins from reputable dealers, or invest via gold-backed exchange-traded funds if you'd rather avoid storage. Of course, gold does not produce income, so if you seek immediate cash flow or rapid gains, it may feel static. Yet as financial insurance, it remains virtually unbeatable. As Charlie Munger quipped, "Gold is a great thing to sew into your garments if you are a Jewish family in Vienna in 1939. If central banks around the world are stocking up on it, you might consider doing the same. Finally, if you want an asset that not only appreciates, but also signals good taste, look to collectibles and luxury items. From fine art and vintage watches to classic automobiles and limited edition sneakers, certain high-end pieces have outperformed stocks. While idle cash in the bank slowly loses value, passionate collectors are turning prized possessions into serious profits. A watch purchased for $200 in the 1970s, a Rolex Daytona once owned by Paul Newman, later fetched more than $17 million at auction. A 1960s Ferrari 250 GTO changed hands for $70 million, and even a bank saw its value soar after it collapsed. What unites these wildly different assets? Their rarity, striking design, and a dedicated group of buyers willing to pay premium prices for exclusivity. Take certain Lego sets. Over the past decade, they have climbed nearly 400% in value, outpacing many conventional investments. These collectibles may lack the easy access and liquidity of stocks or gold, but for those who master this arena, they represent genuine opportunities to grow wealth outside of standard financial systems. Today, platforms such as Rally and Masterworks enable everyday investors to acquire fractional ownership in fine art and rare items, making this market more reachable than ever. With discerning taste, patience, and a long-term outlook, these kinds of holdings can both preserve and enhance your capital in a sophisticated fashion. But what if you prefer to keep part of your assets in the most liquid form possible, yet still shielded from freeze-outs, systemic breakdowns, and endless banking red tape? That brings us to Asset 5, physical cash. This means actual banknotes, not funds trapped in an app. Store a modest reserve of paper money at home, in a secure safe or secret location, so you can rely on it during severe banking crises like those experienced in Greece in 2015, Lebanon in 2019, or during the Silicon Valley Bank shutdown in 2023. When banks close their doors, ATMs run dry, and withdrawal limits cripple access, having bills on hand isn't paranoia, it's pure common sense. Cards can fail, networks can collapse. Picture driving down the highway with no signal, your card declined at the pump, and no digital backup. Only paper money can save you then. Still, you should only keep enough to cover 1 to 2 months of living expenses. Financial advisor Suze Orman suggests maintaining between $1,000 and $2,000 in home-stored cash strictly for emergencies when electronic systems go dark. Discretion, immediate availability, and independence from banking protocols – that's the real value of paper notes when stored smartly. Now, imagine putting your money to work every single day, just like a reliable employee. That's the idea behind Asset 6, Your own business. This is not something you purchase. It's something you build from the ground up, and it could become the most potent asset you ever own. While idle funds slowly lose buying power and banks decide how to deploy your balance, running your own enterprise offers you autonomy, steady cash flow, and direct control over expansion. And don't assume you need a huge operation to get started. Your venture can be lean. It might be an online storefront, a coaching service, a blog, an ebook, or even a video channel. With the right idea and consistent effort, you transform capital into a self-sustaining machine under your own command. Entrepreneurs turn capital into money-making machines. While a bank might pay you 1% a year, a well-oiled business can deliver 100% or more each month. Think of John, who owns that neighborhood pizza joint. He began with a single oven and a small counter. Today, he might operate 5, 10, or more locations simply because he chose to put his money to work instead of letting it sit idle. This kind of wealth building isn't reserved for the ultra-rich. Jeff Bezos launched a book-selling business from his garage. Elon Musk poured every dollar he had into startups that most thought were absurd. Sarah Blakely turned $5,000 into a billion-dollar brand by solving a simple problem women face every day. Of course, businesses carry their own risks and demand a solid strategy and careful preparation. But few assets can transform your life like owning your own enterprise. E-commerce services make it easier than ever to start with minimal cash. Platforms such as Shopify let you open an online store with very little overhead, while Etsy helps you monetize crafts and skills you already possess. Yet there's another asset class that blends autonomy, finite supply, and cutting-edge technology: cryptocurrencies. This is by far the most controversial entry, the one many dismiss as a bubble, yet it has outpaced every traditional asset over the past decade and could redefine the future of money. At its core, Bitcoin is more than a digital coin. It's an alternative value system. No central authority can inflate its supply. Only 21 million coins will ever exist. If you had invested $100 in Bitcoin in the year 2010, today you would hold over $50 million. Past gains offer no guarantee of tomorrow, but the raw figures speak volumes. Bitcoin never sleeps. 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, it offers global liquidity and cannot be devalued by political decisions in any single nation. Michael S., the chief executive officer of MicroStrategy, shifted more than $4 billion of his company's treasury into Bitcoin, calling it digital gold and the ultimate hedge against monetary inflation. Yes, volatility is real, and risks remain. But in a world where banks can collapse and governments accumulate unpayable debts, ignoring the protective potential of crypto is a mistake. You can start with as little as $1 on platforms such as Coinbase or Cash App, building your position steadily over time. Major institutions, investment funds, and even sovereign states are taking their positions. The world's largest asset manager now offers Bitcoin exchange-traded funds. One Central American country has recognized it as legal tender, and corporations across the globe are adding it to their balance sheets. If gold served as the safe haven of the analog age, Bitcoin could be that of the digital era. The decision is yours. In an environment where traditional financial systems reveal growing weaknesses, allocating even a small portion of your portfolio to this emergent asset class may be more than mere speculation. It could be prudent risk management.